Well, the medical examiner's ruling that it's a homicide, we talk about bias, potentially yes, potentially no. But this wasn't a suicide, and it wasn't natural causes. What does Sherlock Holmes say? Rule out the impossible, and whatever's left, no matter how improbable, has to be true. That's where you're at with this.
What's your end game, sir? What are you trying to accomplish representing this woman and I guess her family as well?
I don't control what the medical examiner or the homicide squad does. They might, if I had control, then they might be doing things differently. Maybe they do the same thing. I don't know. But the end game for the family is to find out what happened to their daughter, and if something civilly wrong, if somebody hurt this woman, to sue for money damages. It goes here in the United States. We can't unring the bell. Daphy is gone. If somebody intentionally or in some kind of boneheaded manner did something that caused this lady's death, that's what the civil process does. We increase the cost of behaving like a dummy until people stop doing it because it becomes too expensive.
We can't argue this, sir.
So,
she has, is it fair for me to say, because everybody agrees with this, deeply disturbed mental illness, right?
Absolutely. Sure.
And so, knowing that, she was released to the streets, yes?
Well, streets. This was the south side of Pittsburgh on a Friday afternoon. Okay, we all know that there's a problem in the south side, street riots, gunfire, people getting killed. This has been an ongoing problem. This is not the kind of place to release somebody who sees imaginary people, who doesn't speak the language, things like that. That's not what caught up with her. What caught up with her was the cold in February. She was arguably probably still wearing the clothes she was arrested wearing in September. That's a different part of my wardrobe, and I think it is a different part of everybody else's wardrobe too. Pretty tough to survive. One of those nights it was down to 19 degrees. She was out there for a couple days. As to why she sat there, what was she going to do? She doesn't speak the language. She's got an educational disadvantage. Never been to Pittsburgh before.
Wow.
ICE said they gave her cell phone, but that cell phone had been sitting in a prison lockup for 6 months. The likelihood of it still working, even with the full charge, is damn near zero, and we're going to find out about that. The city took the phone off of the family, and they're going to do, I think, some type of forensics with it.
She was released severely mentally ill with a dead phone, no way of contacting anyone, at a bus stop.
Right.
She was found unconscious at the same bus stop and died at the hospital March 3rd. Who do you blame?
Right, so you're trying to figure out why would someone just sit there? And the question is, what could this person have done? She didn't speak English. There's no way she could ask for help. The phone, even if she had it, I doubt it worked. No money, right? It's really kind of a crazy situation, hard for any of us to get our head around.
Yes.
Because we have so many resources. Even my sons, 15 and 17, could have figured out how to talk their way out of that or something like that. But Daphy had so many factors stacked her. And this is the point, and this is why I believe there is such outrage and why this is captivating the public. This was someone that any bonehead should have realized you shouldn't dump like that. They took the trouble of driving down to Washington County to arrest this person. And I'm not, as I've said often,
yes, sir.
ICE is not a delivery service. They're entitled to arrest people and release them where they release them. But maybe not every person. Maybe there should have been, actually, I'm going to say there should have been. Somebody should have said this is not a good idea. Which wasn't even a close call. Like I said, they knew it. This woman had been arrested for screaming at imaginary people, repeated psychiatric examinations. They would have had, or they should have had all that stuff. And this was obviously a grown woman of 31 years, otherwise healthy, but because of her intellectual and emotional psychiatric state, this is the equivalent of abandoning an infant at that bus shelter.
My man, I love you, and you know that, and you're the best there is. And Patrick can attest to this, and he's on the phone. Patrick, how many times has our deeply disturbed, mentally ill man been arrested and dumped onto the streets of downtown Pittsburgh? Seriously, how many times, Patrick? Is it 250? I can't hear him.
There we go. Brian Clay is north of that at this point.
Almost 300 times.
Yeah.
And Patrick,
right.
This is how we treat the mentally ill these days, is it not, sir?
It is. It's unfortunate. Police officers are not social workers, and right. They do the best they can. But no, somewhere, somehow, there should be a way to screen this out a little bit and get people the proper help they need.
She never had a chance, Joseph Patrick Murphy, did she, sir?
Well, so there's a couple distinctions here. One is that Daphy, this wasn't the city of Pittsburgh.
No, it wasn't.
This was
I'm just broader terms. There are mentally ill folks right now on the streets, roaming around downtown Pittsburgh, released by police. Go ahead.
Absolutely. There's lots of mentally ill people, both released and unreleased, that are walking around. There's plenty of people that haven't even been encountered yet. Certainly during the era in our town, there were lots of them right there on Grant Street by my office. Every morning at 7 o'clock, they'd be, you could smell the drugs being smoked. So, I don't know what the utility is. I don't have that case. That's a giant public policy case. I am advocating, particularly when you've taken someone into custody, like they did with Daphy, and release them, you have to look at the condition they're in. This is the same thing we do with, for example, like bars, right? If they get somebody so juiced up they can't care for themselves, they're not supposed to take the keys off them. They're not supposed to say, have a good night, Bill. And if Bill gets hurt, or if Bill hurts somebody else, kind of on the bar. Now, nobody was serving Daphy drinks, but it's a similar thing. You're exercising dominion over someone, in the booze case by giving them chemical agents that disable them. But in Daphy's case is by taking her into custody, pulling her all the way up here, and then releasing her and deciding when and where and how to do that.
And do you plan a wrongful death suit at some point, sir?
Yeah, that's an almost certainty at this point, the way the case is shaping up. Oh, sure you do. The United States. It's potentially some of the other people that had custody of her. The Washington County Prison, from what I understand, did multiple psychiatric examinations of before she was released. They either did or did not share that information with ICE when custody was transferred. If they did, well, then it's obvious that ICE knew. If they didn't, ICE still should have known, because this wasn't kind of a hidden case. But then if they didn't tell ICE, well, then Washington County probably's got some liability. This is all stuff that'll be, as we get into the lawsuit discovery, this all comes out in the wash.
Joseph Patrick Murphy, my brother. Truth to power, man. Thanks, my man.